Okay, so this is a week right after I have put compost tea on everything. This is the difference. I have, by the way, upgraded. Last week I was shooting everything with my iPhone, and it took horrible video. The video was really small, and I'm not techno-savvy enough to figure out how to make it bigger. So I went back to my old camera. Unfortunately, sometimes though this camera shakes and I have to get it fixed. So, but anyways, okay, so here is our first bed. We call this the tomato bed because we've got tomatoes in it. And we've also got corn in it. We have hot peppers. Fennel. The fennel, for some reason or other, once again, our fennel is not developing bulbs like typical fennel normally does. I don't know why. Any gardeners out there, any other gardeners out there, got any advice? I'm all ears. We do, however, have some zucchini squash, which we've never had good luck with. And here we do. We have good luck with it. Or we are now. Oh, spiderweb, yuck. Okay, and so anyways, yeah, tomatoes. I don't know if you can see how much it's grown. We've had a lot of rain, a lot more rain than we typically have. But everything is doing really good. We have like these things that look like blades of grass. That, people, is salsify. When you are gardening in a really small area, you want to try to make every single bit of it count. And for me, when I see small little spots like this, open spots, where nothing's going on, well then I just say, fine, I'll plant something there and see what happens. As you can tell, like with some of these other beds, and I'll show you more of that. This is, of course, our bed with snow peas, radishes, turnips, quinoa. Quinoa's really taken off, but I have read that red quinoa in particular, likes colder mornings, colder climates, but it doesn't like the heat as much. So previously it was in a really great condition. Now we're, of course, getting into July, and it is getting hotter out. And so the other thing that we have planted in here, which I don't think you can see unless I can cover it, there's amaranth in there. We're now getting into the season that it likes. So hopefully we see something out of one of these. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Earlier, the radish greens were a little bit more plentiful, but now they're not because I trimmed them back. I wanted to see what we were getting underneath, and unfortunately we weren't getting much roots. All we were getting is the greens. I've kind of found out that it could be the fact that we have too much nitrogen in our soil, not enough phosphorus, I believe it is. So we are trying to amend that. Mostly we're just going out and we're getting NPK. I haven't gotten anything more lately just because of haven't been able to get and just buy it. So we had to splurge and get an air conditioner because it has been hot and our house gets hot. So unfortunately the garden's going to have to go without for a week or two. So there's that garden bed. Everything's starting to look, the things in this bed and even this bed here, this one and that one, are starting to look a little more stressed with the heat. It's been ranging in about 75, 80 degrees every day, and for us that's kind of warm. We don't have air conditioners here, so yeah. So anyways, you can tell these poor little guys, they're so sad. We gotta do something to help them out. I guess we're gonna have to water them. And we finally, lo and behold, I came outside this morning and look what we got. Flowers. We have flowers. This means that snow peas are soon to follow. Our snow peas this year have been just gorgeous. They're growing so tall. But the problem is they haven't been producing anything. So while they look pretty, they're not doing much. Okay, so anyways, these ones, by the way, are all beans and peas. And you see carrots in there too. And then this is, of course, our greens bed where we have everything from pretty much all of our brassicas. Kale, lettuces, arugula. We love arugula, so therefore we planted a lot of it. Now, I have to say, a lot of the things that we've planted this year, we didn't exactly expect that we were going to have as much of a success as we did. And it's done really, really well. Compost tea, though, everybody, I cannot preach to you enough. You've got to do it. It's very helpful. Compost tea really helps your plants. Just give them a lot of what they need to get them going. Oh, by the way, yeah, here's one kind of oops. We did not have the newspaper when we put down our mulch. And so now I have grass growing in it instead. And so I'm constantly having to go in by hand and pull up the grass, or use my claw, my garden claw, and try to pull it up that way. However, the one thing that I've kind of left behind is any of this plant that is called, lamb's quarters. This is actually edible. You can actually steam these, saute them, with garlic, whatever. So any of the lamb's quarters that I find in the garden, I leave them alone because we eat them anytime we do sauteed greens. Let's see. So you can see our broccoli, Brussels sprouts. We talked to the Brussels sprout lady. She said leave them alone from this point on. We can't touch them anymore. We can't trim them. We got to see if they start developing little sprouts. This is our winter squash that looks very sad. The heat is really killing it right now, so I think it needs some water. My son's stevia, which unfortunately I think is dying because the cat started peeing on it. She's been going through a thing lately where she wants to pee on plants, and when she doesn't get the plants, then she pees on everything else. So she's been like limited from plants. My hyssop, which I'm kind of excited about it, is finally flowering. Not that I'm going to have enough flowers to do much with it. Our chamomile. My son's chamomile. He wanted that one. It's flowering. Even our strawberries are flowering. We had a whole lot of flowers out here earlier. There's a few. We don't have enough strawberry plants actually to do much with. We can't make jam with them, but we can eat them, and they're a nice change. So this is pretty much how the garden is doing as of about a week from the time that I put the compost tea on. I did put another batch of it on today, or yesterday actually, I'm sorry, yesterday. Oh, I'm covered in spider webs. Yeah. I put another batch on it. Ooh, now look at that corn. That corn is getting big. Yeah, the spiders are everywhere out here. Yuck. So, oh, and also we've had one little problem with voles. We found his little tracks in the dirt. So we put some traps out in hopes that seeing maybe if something happens now. The only thing is, though, is I've read voles don't like to come out in the open. And at first I almost covered it, well, I did cover it up. I covered it up with like a bucket. The only thing is it wasn't very big, and I don't think he was going to come out into it. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. So that's pretty much the status of how everything is doing. We don't really have any new additions. Oh, except for we do have 2 new raspberry plants, and that's like our other tomato. We've never grown that type of tomato plant before. Our peony is in its last days of flowering. I made some jams and jellies out of that. It was really good. And it looks like my video is shaking, so it's time for me to end. Ta-ta.